Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Army. Welcome to X. Hope everyone's doing well. I can't wait to wrap this up already, just because I'm seeing what's in our group WhatsApp, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what people are smoking, but they seriously need to stop it. And I'm not talking about you, Gomza. You are.
I don't mind. I've got my own take on my own, man. I hold my
exactly,
own.
but that's the thing. But it's when I've just seen someone just post something which is totally inaccurate, and I can't wait to respond to it because I don't know where they've got it from. But my god. Anyway, mate, how you doing?
I'm all right. It was a hard evening, but you just move on to next season now, and I think it's no point dwelling on it. We made lots of mistakes. I think this was always coming, and it's how you respond to it. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
you take your beating, and then you have to correct a lot of failings we got wrong this season. So yeah, for me, it's not to say it's needed, but we've been dodging it for a little while, haven't we? We've been performing on the pitch, which is kind of masked over some of the other issues we've been having with recruitment. So
yeah,
I think this season's brought it all to light, and we have to make some changes.
No, mate. At the end of the day, I kind of expected this. I did say on the preview, whatever night I did it, Tuesday, I think I did it, that I didn't think we had it in us. I did think we'd perform better than last week, which we did. So I definitely agree with that. But look, at the end of the day, out of the four teams, and I know that Chris has touched it on in the comments already, we were the fourth best team out of all four, in my opinion. So PSG are a different animal now. They are brilliant, absolutely fantastic club. I don't like the owners, I never will, and I will always state that on record because I don't want anyone thinking I like their owners, because I don't. But as a club, they are very well run, and I think it might have been you that said this, that they kind of have a very similar way of doing things than how we do, and they do.
Yeah,
but they recruit way better. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. I do agree
obviously, they've got a lot of money, which helps them. Which obviously,
I think the Dembele one, I get that was quite an expensive risk, which I think not many teams would have wanted to take that risk, but it's kind of proved them right taking it. But some of the others, like Kvaratskhelia, what they paid for him wasn't out of this world money. Do you know what I mean? Not for the player you're getting, that's a great signing at a great price. So. Yeah, I think that's where Arsenal fall down, isn't it? We just don't take the risk enough sometimes. And
I'm gonna have to say his name, Sheila, because as everyone knows, I can't say his name.
Yeah.
But he was someone that was offered to us as well in January, but he's not an Arteta player, and I kind of get it in a way, because it's definitely not an Arteta player, because he bites back and he kind of has a different kind of personality than our other players do, but I would have him all day long.
Do you know what?
Martinelli.
Do you know what really impressed me with him as well? Because a lot of where Martinelli gets his plaudits from a lot of the fan base is his work rate, and he tracks back. Kvaratskhelia literally played at left back last night.
He was fantastic.
That's where the frustration kicks in for me, is because you see he will do the work. So regardless of your attitude, I get if you're not going to do the work that Arsenal require you to do, then again, if you look at like the Messi, Neymar, those guys wouldn't track back. So
no, definitely not.
You don't want those players, but there's nothing wrong with a bit of edge about you if you're still putting the work in, which Kvaratskhelia, or you call him Sheila, did last night. Like, he defended the whole majority of the game. He was back there with Saka doubling up and doing his work. So, and then when he did get the opportunity to go forward, you saw what devastating quality he had. That one that hit the post, that was his first touch in our half, wasn't it? And just like that, almost bent it in. So it just shows the quality he has in his boots, man.
Yeah, he's amazing. The whole team is just quality. I'm pretty sure we would all struggle to pick who we wouldn't have from PSG, because I'd have Donnarumma over Raya every single day. Sorry, I love Ben White, I love Timber, but I'm having Hakimi every day. Nuno Mendes, I love you, Luis Skelly, I really do, but I'm having Nuno Mendes. Defenders, Marquinhos, yes, I want. But I'm sorry, people. I'm so sorry. I'm dropping Saliba.
I'll keep Gabriel.
Yeah, I'm keeping Gabriel over. No, Paco is going to be a very good goal defender at some, but he's still a little bit raw at the moment. Then we look into midfield. That's really tough. I probably, out of the two of them, I wouldn't want Vitinha. That would probably. He's still very good.
Yeah.
Probably drop Vitinha, and only because Partey's age, I wouldn't keep Partey.
That's it. Yeah. The profile, isn't it?
But yeah, so and then forward line, I'm having Saka. Doué's going to be amazing, by the way. But Saka,
I think Doué's similar to like a Miles Lewis Skelly. They're young, aren't they? So they're not going to jump ahead of a Nuno Mendes or a Saka right now. But you can see it's same as Barcola, but you can see the ability. Those guys as your backup, no one's complaining. So.
Yeah, and obviously, sorry, Marino, but you ain't being the number 9. I'll have Dembele or Barcola because I love Barcola. And then I'm sorry, I love Martinelli. Everyone knows how much I love Martinelli, but Sheila always. Anyway, getting comments before we just end up talking about how good, because they are good. They're a good team.
No, I think this is where, as much as we want to win, this is where you have to be a bit level-headed with it.
Yeah,
and understand like we're in the final 4. It's not going to be an easy game either. It's different to like the FA Cup when you're losing to United, or do you know what I mean? How we've lost previously in some of those cup competitions. This is the elite, isn't it? So there has to be an element of realism. We pushed them all the way. We had some great chances, and again, it's them little difference makers. For me, Donnarumma probably is the difference. I don't think Raya could do much with any of the goals.
No.
But Donnarumma's presence is just that bit more commanding, isn't it? He's just bigger. So that Odegaard strike, Raya probably can't save that just because he hasn't got the reach. The Saka strike as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Saka because everyone seems to have forgotten about that one.
Yeah, I just don't think Raya just doesn't have the reach to save that. And I think that's just, it's not because the positional was bad. I mean, Raya is a good keeper, but sometimes if your arm span is just 5-10 inches longer, you can get to things that other keepers can't get to. So, yeah, I think it just highlights where we are and the importance of recruitment. And this is where Arteta has massively failed.
Oh, definitely. Look, at the end of the day, they knocked out the Premier League champions of our own league. They knocked them out. So why on earth did we think that we're going to be better than Liverpool? Because Liverpool have been miles better than us in the Premier League. So if you just look at it that way, we weren't going to beat PSG. Big up to Chris. Big up to Michael saying, morning, Bobby and Gums, and morning, old Tick follows Talk, follows Tick, follows Talk. Commiserations.
Time is ticking.
It is. Commiserations to real honest fans like you. Thank you very much, Chris. You know I'm just who I am. I don't banter. I don't even do the Arsenal PR. If Arsenal piss me off, I will let them know. Now I work with them, and they have no issues with me telling them what the fuck are you doing. Don't do that. That's stupid. And that's what I like about them, because having someone there that's been a friend of mine for 20 years, we can talk honestly, and I like that. Because if I could go, no, you don't do that because that's just stupid, they'll go, fair enough. We probably won't do it. But yeah. Thank you very much. But big up to my pod brother. Morning, gents. Has he been dismissed yet? Look, let's be honest. It's not going to happen. He's definitely not going to get sacked. If he wants to walk away at the end of the season, I don't think any of us will be too bothered, if I'm honest. Maybe some might be a little bit upset, but if he chose to walk away, fair dues. But I think he's got next season, then next season. I'm hoping, I know Gumza is... give him next season, but I'm hoping at the end of next season with nothing and a bad season, we're all on the same page.
Yeah, 100%.
Because what I don't want, and now Josh, I know how angry Josh is. Josh is pissed off. But at the end of the day, the big man is still Stan. And obviously, if there is a lot of positive PR being spun for Arteta at the end of next season after a shit season, Stan will probably go, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure if it's a good idea. But Josh will want him gone. I mean, 100% guarantee that. Two best teams are, definitely. Inter have been fantastic. I thought Barca were very good as well, to be fair. But Inter, I'll be honest, I couldn't call it. I couldn't call it. I will be going to the final, and I'll be going as a total neutral due to the fact I can't stand PSG and I can't stand Inter Milan because I'm an AC Milan fan and a Monaco fan. So I don't care who wins, but I will enjoy it as a game of football. And I couldn't call it. Could you call it?
Nah. Yeah, the only thing for me, Inter defensively, well, before like the last 2 games, Inter defensively looked really strong and they could score goals. But the way Barcelona was opening them up, and that game was just crazy. It's one of the best games I've seen. So, yeah,
100%.
I think PSG have got a really good chance. But at the same time, I think Inter just seem like a well-oiled unit, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
And I wouldn't be. And I think they was there 2 years ago. They was in the final. I think they may just creep over the line. I really do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Big up to Gary. Gary, you make me say your name twice now because you keep going hello, hello. Right. Big up to Gary. Just one. Hello, hello. Hello to you, Gary. Hope you're doing well. You had chances, but you got punished. Simple as that. Yeah, the open goal. But that was a very hard chance, even though it was an open goal. It was a very hard chance because of the pace of the cross for Saka, which would have made it 2-2. Anything could have happened after that, I personally think. But yeah, I'm never going to hate on Saka for that. I'll be honest. Obviously, I want to talk about something in a bit as well about the VAR because I do love people's reactions to it. So I do want to ask your opinion on it, Gums. Yeah. Arteta taking you as far as you cannot win. Simple as that for change. Said this last season, mate. I personally would happily sack him, but I get that people want him to have one more season. Fine with that. I've got no issues with it. But yeah, the amount we're being investing this summer, he has to deliver the next season. Simples. Arteta's guff at the post. Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, that we were the better team. No, we weren't. No, not over the 2 legs. We weren't. We had a good spell in the second leg. That's about it. But overall, the best team, and you'll see that in the stats in a minute. The best team won. Simple as that. Sorry. Rice's comments were bang on. This is why, and I'm sorry that people get upset, but this is why he's my captain. Not Odegaard, Rice's, because he just talks absolute sense every single time. And I love him. I absolutely love him. Saliba's performance is like someone's head is turned. I'm going to move on from that. Bad night for Lewis Skelly, but it happens. He's not a left back. Correct. He's not. He's training as well, but he is a very good DM, in my opinion. Has Odegaard been found yet? Well, we'll get on to him as well. Donnarumma turned into prime Dudek from 2005. He's always been a good goalkeeper. I don't know where the hate comes from with Donnarumma. For me, he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Definitely.
He's current. I'm not on about lifetime. Current, definitely top 5, no doubt about it. He probably is pushing the number 1 slot, if I'm honest.
I think for him, I think he broke in so early when he made a few mistakes at the start of his career. People were onto him, but they're forgetting he was like 19 at the time. But yeah, he's a top keeper, man.
No, he is. But there was some people saying Ray is better than Donnarumma. I'm like, what are you watching, guys? Seriously, I love your opinion and I respect it, but I don't know what you're watching because even from me, I'm not a goalkeeper. You know, even Colm, who obviously FCSM Colm, he would say Donnarumma is the better goalkeeper as well. He even said, I think Ramsdale is better than Reyes. So that kind of tells you everything. I hope you keep Arteta, but honestly, it needs to go. Mohammed saying squad depth lacking. Definitely agree. I fear Arsenal if they had a better manager. Totally agree. PSG versus Inter is so 50-50. I'm saying penalties and still can't call it. Totally agree. I've edged towards PSG. They will feel this is the time now. They've both got good coaches as well. That's the other thing. You know, Enrique against Flick. Everyone knows I love Flick. But yeah, I think that not Flick, Inzaghi. Sorry. I was thinking Barcelona mode there. But yeah, it's going to be a really, really tough one to call. Give Rice the armband. I would, but you know, Arteta's won't. So it's simple as that. Right. We're not going to talk about the goals because it's just not worth it. But what I do want to talk about, Gomzo, is your honest opinion. Now, it's your opinion, so I might disagree with it, but I was there. I heard the situation, and then I was fed a lot of information on the flight back last night that the reaction to it was mad. Right, so the VAR call for the penalty. It was the right decision due to the fact it was a penalty. Why are people having such a problem with it? And what's your opinion on it? You're on mute, mate.
Sorry about that. Yeah, when I saw the referee stop the game,
yep,
I started celebrating because if you remember moments before they had their shot, Saka was in the edge of the box and he went round Doué and Doué stuck his leg out.
Yeah.
And Saka went down and referee obviously said play on. So I'm celebrating like mad thinking, oh my God, we got a penalty. I'm jumping around. If you look at the group chat,
fair enough. Yeah.
I'm screaming penalties. We got to score. Get Jorginho one to take the penalty. I'm talking a whole lot of mess. And then because I think when it actually happened, nobody saw it hit his hand. Hakimi didn't even appeal for it.
No one appeared on the pitch to even like.
So all I could, the only thing I could think of why they're looking at it is because of the penalty for Saka. Yeah. So then obviously when it's happened, I think it's caught everyone by surprise. I think people are looking at the distance. From one angle, you see his arm looks quite wide out, and then from behind the goal. So I'm not sure if you've seen replays of it. Behind the goal, it doesn't look like his arm's really far from his body at all. Okay. And I think where people are frustrated is because there was no appeal. So it's like, VAR, why have you got involved? Because PSG haven't even appealed for it. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's where the frustration, the game's carried on. No one said a word. And it just caught everyone by surprise. Like, what have they gone back for? And again, I think most people probably thought like me, it's for Saka. So I think that's the frustration. And again, it's one of those handballs where you see it given and you see it not given. There's no clear guideline, which again, in football is subjective. And if the referee hasn't given it, it's not a clear and obvious error. Why go back to it? And I do think that's what I've said before. Things need to be reviewed within how VAR gets involved in some decisions. The penalty on the weekend, I think, was it the Newcastle game? Yeah, I think it was Newcastle. We had about 2 penalties overturned. And we've had one similar where the incident happens and the referee's looking at it for about 5 seconds before he blows his whistle. And what you're looking for, I don't know what you can see because the plays actually happen. So I think to help referees, he should just be able to say, I'm stopping the game. Can I have a look? Rather than give a decision and then it has to be clear and obvious error. He obviously hasn't seen it because he hasn't blown straight away. Like he's given himself 5-10 seconds to make a call. So I think referees need help in that sense because they're guessing and then VAR then giving the clear and obvious error kind of thing. So if it's not clear and obvious, they're not going to overturn it. Whereas actually just let him have 5 seconds at the camera rather than having a guess. But yeah, for me, this one was definitely one of the ones I don't think VAR needed to get involved in. I don't think anyone would even have picked it up at the end of the game to say PSG have been robbed of a penalty. I don't think anyone saw it. Even the commentators didn't see it.
No. I do agree with what you're saying, though. But for me, who loves VAR personally, I just don't like the people that operate it. But the VAR system is fantastic when used properly. It was a penalty and should have been given. And that's perfectly how it worked out. And I'm an Arsenal fan. Bear in mind, I was in the stadium and I was like, yep, it's a penalty because I obviously got to see the VAR system as well. So, for me, penalty. So I'm glad it was given because for me, and I was talking to some people last night, it was a bit of a weird conversation that we were having, but if VAR was, what's the year that Maradona did the handball? Because I can't remember it.
Oh, yeah, it's going back.
Yeah.
80 something. But yeah, I know the one you mean. Hand of God.
But if VAR was operational, then we'd all want that being done.
Okay? Yeah.
And for me, handballs are, if you handball it, and for me, yes, he should have just had his arm behind his back. I don't like it. I personally, it pisses me off because what you meant to do, start tying your arms behind your back. Because it does annoy me. It's a stupid rule, but we're not the ones that create the rule, nor UEFA. It's IAAF that create it. So it's their rules. They're the ones that need to change it. But I think it's stupid. But it is handball in the rules that there is. But anyway, oh Jesus, yes. Yes, we do. We've got 2 horrible games coming up. Liverpool, Newcastle. Liverpool's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, we've got Chris joining me on Friday, who's obviously in the comments, who's a Liverpool fan. So that'll be an interesting conversation because I do want to see how Liverpool will look at this game because everything's wrapped up. Their season's done. But Newcastle, their season's not wrapped up, and that's the team I'm most petrified playing at the moment. Liverpool, I just don't know what to do. Yeah, 100%. What phase are we in now? 90. Thank you very much, Bren. But yeah, we would all be calling for that handball, wouldn't we? Let's be honest. No matter what fan you were, if you're English or not. Right. So as I said, I'm not going to skip over those because it's just not worth talking about. However, stats wise, I do want to talk about. Right. So possession wise, we did really well. Bear in mind, average over the Champions League games, PSG have over 60% possession in their games. Average. They only had 46. So we did very well with keeping possession. And that's probably one of our highest because on average, we're about 50 points something. So we're 54 is brilliant. The next bit is that obviously I'm going to have to talk about 19 shots, only 4 on target. Now, obviously, I know what kind of camp you're in, Gumza. Why? For the 15 minutes, right? Why did we not bring on Ethan and Butler? Just for 15 minutes, just to go fucking gong-ho for it.
That baffled me. It really did. Again, if you saw in the group chat yesterday, he obviously didn't want to take off Odegaard. You don't want to take off Declan Rice. Again, fair enough. He is your energy and your power in there.
Yeah.
Then just take off Partey. Even if Partey's having the best of games, which I do feel he is at fault for both of the goals.
Yeah.
End of the day, he does bring something to the team. We do play better with him, but we have to go for it. Just take Partey off then. Even if you then throw Calafiori up front, who's showing he can score goals, and you go 4-4-2, just get balls in the box, do something. We're about to go out. So for me, it's criminal that more wasn't changed to go for it. That. So whether it's Ethan, whether it's Butler, whether it's Calafiori up front, put Saka left back and rain crosses in. Whatever it is, do something. We got to, do you know what I mean? We're back in the game when we scored that one goal. I know we've had another great chance with Saka's missed, but try and do something. And Ethan has to come on the pitch. And I've been saying it for months, and you've heard me say it in the group, execution, and execution's key. I think this is where I am giving Arteta a bit of leeway. Yeah. We just don't execute. And that is half and again, you see it in these stats here. And I think it's quite funny because if you look back to the first preview we did, it was PSG who had loads of shots and didn't score. And I said the worrying thing with that is if they are clinical on the day, they're creating the chances. And I'd much rather be creating the chances long term because I know then it only takes one game for it to actually, do you know what I mean, turn around for you. And
definitely.
I think that's the difference in these two legs. And even if you look at the goals, it's Dembele's shin the first one. And it's worked its way in. It's a good finish, but it's not a clean hit. Do you know what I mean? It's hit his shin pad. The second, the Ruiz goal was a deflection. And can't remember what the third goal was. Partey made the mistake. So in terms of how they scored it, it's just that clinicalness, isn't it? It wasn't because it's hard to take. I think that's the frustration in this one. We haven't been beat up by a much better team. It's just those little moments where they have the quality and quality, and that is the difference.
See, when I obviously said earlier, out of the 4 teams that were in the semi-finals, we're the 4th. I'm never saying that we're like miles away. We're not a Bodo Glimt against Real Madrid, Man City, and Liverpool. We are all very close, but out of the 4 of them, I would say that we are rated 4th. But we're close. We're just not there.
It's just those little areas, isn't it? If you took everyone's striker, for instance, you'll take ours last. Like you said, you look at even their guy on the bench, Goncalo Ramos, is a better goal scorer than anything you've got. Then you said you look at Barcelona, they got Lewandowski. Do you know what I mean? And Inter have got Martinez and Thuram. Whereas and it's those little moments where you see the quality of the other teams. It's just they have somebody who can do something from nothing and win games for them. And that's what I think. That's where we struggled all season. We just can't take games away from teams at the moment.
Definitely.
And it all comes back to recruitment. And that's been our biggest failing. So I'm hoping Berta and the new regime really do change that. And Arteta has to be open to changes of his ways now. Like he got close 2 years in a row with his style and his philosophy. This year, it's not worked. So actually, he has to take some responsibility and sit back and say, actually, okay, I need to be open to changing. Otherwise, his job is on the line. There's no excuses next season, none at all.
Yeah, 100%. You know what? I'm not going to get into too much detail about how this happened last night. But I'm glad it was put in place. Look, someone said something, and Arteta actually was willing to give it a go. So Thomas Partey is well known for doing quite good throw-ins, especially long distance. And you know what? I loved the idea of us trying to do it last night because it was something different.
We almost scored 2 from it.
Yeah, exactly. And
because Martinelli's chance was from that, and Odegaard's chance was from it, weren't it?
100%. And now everyone knows me, and I am a huge fan of National League, League Two football. And you know why? Because one of the majority of the things that they score from are massive throw-ins. They are absolutely stunning to watch because they are mayhem. Because because of the pace of the ball, it's a lot harder to read. And
yeah, the flight of it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the flight. It's just I love it. I love it. So I'm glad that Arteta was more than happy to take this idea on last night because, look, I think we did everything we possibly could have apart from take some more of our opportunities last night. Some of the players weren't fantastic. We'll get onto that in a minute, but I think we did as much as we possibly could.
Yeah, I think over the 90 minutes, there wasn't any standout players in that whole game. I would say Hakimi and Donnarumma were the standouts.
Yeah, Hakimi had a great game, yeah.
Yeah, but I think apart from that, no one really, their midfield didn't wow me yesterday. I think Luis had some amazing feet in the corner at one stage, but it was a very close tactical battle. No one really shone like how you've seen like Yamal come out of his games, the last 2 games, like Rafinha. Yeah. No one stood out. I think it was a very close game. It was just execution. It was literally just that final piece of the puzzle, wasn't it? Which is what
totally agree. So totally agree. Bert's a big summer ahead, mate. He's going to have a big summer. But just be prepared for what is going to be a crazy summer for Arsenal Football Club. It's going to be
time. We haven't had one in so long, have we? So.
No, look, I'm never going to did this. Edu, everyone knows this about me. I love him to bits. But I think the friendship between him and Mikel was the downfall. But Andrea has come in. Yes, they have a working relationship, but that is as far as it goes. It's a working relationship, which I like. Andrea's doing his own thing without Mikel because he's a sporting director, not a manager. So he will have his own little team himself. And yeah, I am very excited what Andrea has been doing already. And when I can, I will talk about it more. But I'm definitely excited. Like I said, I'm edging towards more that it's going to be a window that is a 9 out of 10 than an 8 out of 10. So that's optimism. I'll be honest, I don't think you'll ever see a 10 out of me because I am so hard to please. But yeah, I'm very, very excited at the moment. Arteta in phase 6, I think, while Slot said, fuck this phase nonsense, I'll just switch straight away. I'm always going to say Arne Slot has been a great manager and he's just fantastic. He's done a great job and he deserves everything that he's got this season, I'll be honest. Partey was at fault for one of your goals as well. Yep, agree.
I would say 2. I would say both.
Would you say both?
Yeah, you can't head that ball into that danger zone. Okay, just can't head the ball into there. It's like route 1 of football, isn't it? When flick it out behind or hit out for a throw in, you can't head it back into the edge of the box where they got 2 players sat there. It's just dangerous. So yeah, for me, he has to take blame for both.
Get Eze to Arsenal. He shoots. Well, Eze, for me, will leave Crystal Palace. Where he goes is a different matter. Chris, I need to see Thunderbolts in phase 5. PSG and Inter both have best defence, midfield and attack. That's why it's 50-50. 2 great coaches, 2 brilliant goalkeepers. Yeah. Sommer is so underrated as a good goalkeeper as well. It really narks me, actually, that Sommer doesn't get talked about more. Just because I know he's moved around a bit, but he is a good goalkeeper. I guarantee if we ask about 100 people that played FIFA, I guarantee 90% of people have signed Sommer on FIFA. I can guarantee it because he was always cheap as well. He wasn't really expensive on FIFA, and he just did the job. Right, let's get into XG. So, as Gobza was rightly saying, we had chances. Just didn't put them away, which is why the XG on target is only 1.83 compared to our XG of 2.9. Where, twist it, PSG only had an XG of 1.74. However, their XG on target was 3.56. So that's how it swings and roundabouts. I know a lot of people don't like XG, but it tells a story. especially because a lot of people they just do XG and just leave it at that. I don't, because the XG on target is the bit that finishes the story. It's like watching the Green Mile, and before they pull down the thing for John Coffey, the film stops. You don't know what happens. You don't know if he actually dies, or the rat's eating the wire and no electricity. You just don't know. I like to finish the story. I always do. So that tells the story. So what Gomza was saying is spot on, because it tells the story within the XG. We weren't clinical enough, and they were slightly more fortunate with the chances they got, which is why you see that in Chris. I know he's I'm sure he goes around Carlisle with out with XG on it. I can imagine it. But for me, for someone that constantly works within the field, and not just finances, but also with the stats as well, it does tell a story. If you look at all the games, and by the way, this is not just done in Premier League, it's covered everywhere. It always tells a story, and it tells the right story as well. Can't compare Champions League and Europa League. Well, it's still a trophy if that's where we're going with that, because if United or Tottenham win, obviously they've got to get through the semi-finals, because no games are given. I'll be honest, I think Tottenham's is slightly harder because they've got to go to the Arctic Circle, and Bodo Glimt is not an easy place to go to. So that may be a bit trickier than people assume. But I do think Man United are through. I'm shocked with how bad Bilbao was in the first leg, if I'm honest. But I can't see that one being turned around. But it is Man United, and they're having a horrible season, so who knows? But I think they're both through, personally. Right. Jules, I'll quickly cover this because I'm fed up of talking about it. We lost them all again. It's stupid. It's annoying. Bullshit to it, but never mind. Passes, it is what it is. It wasn't really... I was quite shocked with how low it was in numbers. Normally, I'm just like seeing 400s, 500s. They're both 300, which is not great, personally, for a game. But I thought the game was good. But yeah, because I do want to talk about the atmosphere as well, because obviously the PSG fans were absolutely outrageous last night. I love them. I love going abroad to Europe, because I have to be honest, I think we've lost some of our personality in some of our stadiums.
100%.
Molineux, I love, and I will always big it up, not just because I live here, but honestly, the fans are always mental. But I do feel the Emirates... Now, I've never been. Everyone knows this about me. I haven't been to the Emirates, because if I was to go to the Emirates, it would be in a working capacity, which I don't want to do at the Emirates. I want to be there as a fan. And because I've got social anxiety, I can't. Because obviously working where I work, if I'm in an office, like literally a special box, it's a lot easier because I'm literally can just chill out, have a sit on the sofa, and go out when I want to watch the game. So it's a lot more comfortable for me. But if I'm going to go to the Emirates, I want to be there as a fan. I don't want to be there as a work thing, because honestly, I will end up being dragged left, right, and centre by every person that sees me and go, "Oh, I need this, I need that. Oh, what's your opinion?" And I want to enjoy my day. So I haven't been to the Emirates yet, and I will hope to do it. But everything I've heard, now this is obviously heard. I know Gums has been himself, so I will ask Gums. But it's not when the game is not. When you just want an entertaining game and the players just aren't performing, they're just going, the whole stadium dies.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's very different when you're in Europe. If the game's dead, the fans raise it up.
But I think even, again, I don't know what it is. We are like, we sit there and we watch the game as Arsenal fans. When I've been 2 years ago when we went on that run, and was pushing the league, I've never felt atmosphere like it. We need the players to kind of lift us, from what I get at the Emirates. If the players' first 10, 15 minutes don't come out and do something and really drive the fans on, we then just go really quiet. Sections try, but it never. It's almost like we're watching. We're in the cinema. We're watching. Whereas from the impression I get from Europe is they might not even be watching the game. They are just in there dancing, celebrating, jumping. And I think that's the difference. We look to be inspired from the players, whereas I think, definitely in Europe, it could be things like ticket prices. It could be, even for me, it's so hard to get tickets now. when I get a ticket, do you know what I mean? I'm focused on the game. Whereas in Europe, it could be those guys are just there for the day, regardless what happens. Like they're gonna make noise, jump, and celebrate, and that's probably what they go for is the atmosphere, maybe more than actually the winning of a game. So I think that may have a little bit to do with it, but yeah, it's definitely Europe definitely has got that it factor when it comes to the stadiums, and I do think it's a problem in not just the Emirates. I think it's all over the Premier League at the moment. I do feel the atmospheres cannot contest with a lot of the atmospheres in Europe. Even somewhere like Newcastle, who do you know what I mean, is deemed as one of the places. St James's Park is one of the loudest places, and obviously they put the away fans really high up in the stadium. And I still don't think that compares with some of these European stadiums. You know what I mean? Just from we start seeing the flares going off and the bangs, and do you know what I mean? It's just probably a health and safety nightmare, but it creates a great atmosphere. Do you know what I mean? So
my throat is sore because of the smoke last night. Honestly, I was coughing so much. Yeah, it was mad, but I loved it. Don't get me wrong; it was absolutely amazing.
And I think there's an exception, because I think if you let off a flare in England, there'll probably be some fans fuming that they can't see the pitch now. Like, whereas I think over there they just jump on each other's back and go wild. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Because I've seen a few old firms, and obviously the Celtic part they set off flares, but I will agree sometimes when the smoke doesn't go, because I've seen I think on one game I did it on as a watch long, and one game I did it took about 5 minutes for the smoke just to disappear because of the amount of flares, and I love it. It's so great, and I wish we did, because we have at the Molineux we have loads of pyrotechnics and stuff, and it's absolutely fascinating. It's so good to listen to and be part of as well. If anyone ever wants to go to a game as a neutral, go to the Molineux. Honestly, it's just so fun. But yeah, Alfie, yes. Obviously, Douan's out. Colapinto is in. To be honest, to start the season, it's old news. Yeah, it was totally. I remember you telling me actually. Jeffrey is short impact. Well, we'll see what happens. Is it? I think it's Imola next, isn't it? Which is not this weekend, the next weekend, if I'm right. You can tell me if I'm wrong, Chris, but I'm pretty sure it's not this weekend, next weekend. Right, let's slide. Let's talk. Well, we're not actually. It's pointless talking about the first team because none of us were shocked. Let's be honest. There was nothing really else he would do. Obviously, I think some of us could have come up with different ideas, and that's fine. So we're just going to go into ratings. I think that's probably the best way. Raya, what are you going to give for Raya?
I think he was all right, actually. I give him a 7. I don't think he'd done anything wrong. He went long quite a few times, which was working into Marino. So I'll give him a 7.
No, fair enough. Timber.
A lot better this time than last time against PSG. And where I will say fair play to Arteta is how he deployed him almost as an inside 8. Really confused PSG and got Saka a lot more time on the ball because he was taking Mendes, and then this meant Kvaratskhelia had to come back and defend. So I'll give Timber a 7 as well. I think he was all right.
Okay, fair enough. Saliba?
I know people are going to get onto him for the one bad pass he made, because it did give them a really good opportunity. And I think that was the one. No, I think was that when Rice? No, I think it's Miles Lewis-Skelly when Rice come back. But yeah, Timber gave away Saliba gave away a horrible pass. But I think his one-on-one defending was superb yesterday. There was a lot of times he was left one-on-one or had to come across and cover, and just mopped up everything. So actually, I'm going to give him a 7. I don't think he was as bad as everyone's making out.
Okay, Kivior?
7 again. I think defending-wise, he didn't do as much as Saliba, but he didn't make as many noticeable mistakes, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I do want to just give out an extra shout out to Kivior because he's done brilliantly.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. There was so much hate and fear as well that Kivior was going to be the one coming in for Gabriel, but I think he's done absolutely brilliantly. And look, if he chooses to leave at the end of the season still, and he does, I wish him all the best of luck. I know someone has said in the group WhatsApp that everyone's delighted to be at Arsenal and 100% delighted to play for Arteta. I will guarantee you, not everyone is. But if he decide to leave, fair dues. I know what he wants, and
it's a nice way for him to leave. I think personally as well, him going out the back door, not playing any minutes was kind of, he'll go down as one of those signings where it was a pointless signing. Whereas I think he goes out with actually, this guy's not as bad as we're made to think because he hasn't played, he hasn't been given opportunities. And even when he played last year, he was playing at left back, which he can play there, but it's not his natural position. So I think this little run, as much as it's sad that Gabriel's not a part of this run for the Champions League final, I think Kiwior could hold his head up and actually walk through the front door, and people won't say he's a bad player. It's more Arteta hadn't used him. So yeah, good for him.
Let's just give you a scenario. Gabriel was to leave in the summer. Would you be happy for Kiwior just to stay as the number one choice, or would you still want to bring someone else in?
In terms of his performances, I don't think he's done anything for me not to give him an opportunity.
Yeah.
But and again, you still got Calafiori, who we haven't seen the centre back.
Yeah.
So it's difficult, and this is the problem I think what Arteta's created. And everyone knows I don't mind Arteta as a manager. Everyone knows I'm happy to give him another year. But what he has done, he's isolated a few players where you don't know what they can do. So he then doesn't want to put them in situations like yesterday's game because he hasn't seen them enough in matches to see what they can do. And I think that's the biggest failing. Why we were so worried about Kiwior coming into the squad is because we haven't seen him at centre-back enough. Yes. He's had a handful of chances, and we're grading him because he hasn't played for 6 months, and then he gets thrown in at centre-back and makes a mistake or gets caught out. And it's what do you expect? He hasn't played. And again, I don't even know if he's been playing in the Premier League 2 team, which he probably hasn't. So this guy hasn't played a competitive match in how many months? So it's a big failing on Arteta. I think he doesn't give enough of these players rotations to when they can just step in and come in seamlessly. Like, it's going to take him a few games to get up to speed. You know what I mean? This is why we have pre-season, because the players need to get up to speed. So, yeah, it's... and again, I think this is the whole thing with football. Before, we used to have the reserve teams, you know what I mean? Where players would go and dip in there and play some minutes to keep them ticking over. Whereas now it's an under-21s league with a couple of older players can play. But it does impact those guys who aren't getting regular minutes because there's just no way for them to get match fitness and get up to speed with men's football as such. So, or competitive football, I should say. So, yeah, I would like to see better. I'd like to, for me, if he's not challenging Gabriel, then we need better. But I don't think that's a fault of his, in all honesty.
No, I agree. So I just wanted your opinion on that. Lewis Skelly.
For me, this has probably been his most difficult performance. I'll score him a 5. I think he just kept getting caught on the ball, which is part of his game. He's going to try and dribble out of areas.
Yeah.
But they pressed in 2 on him. Every time he got his ball, he was back to goal. They came either side of him. And yeah, it was a difficult performance for him.
What does that tell you about him, though? That he's a threat.
Yeah, 100%. I love the kid.
Love that. He's 18 years old and they're seeing him as a threat. Love it. Absolutely love it. Sorry, for people that want to know, it's also black smoke for the Pope second vote because it's just been announced. For people that are interested in that, I am actually keeping an eye attack on that at the moment because I love this type of thing. It's just fascinating. Thomas Partey.
For me, and everyone knows I'm a Partey fan. I think we played better football with Partey, most definitely. But I'm going to put this whole semi-final on him. In all honesty, he wasn't there for the first game because of a stupid yellow card. Which may have made a difference, may not have made a difference, but means we couldn't play our best 11 going into that game. And in this game, as I said, I think he's at fault for both goals. The first one, he's just headed into a horrible area. You just cannot head a ball back there. And then the second one, he's tried to do what Partey does, which is roll out and get us playing football. So I'm not mad at him for trying, but he just got his pocket nicked, didn't he, by Hakimi, who's just more alert, and bang, we're 2-0 down. So he had a good game, but the first leg and then these 2 mistakes have really cost us in this moment. So I'm going to score him a 3.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. I've got no issues with that. Declan?
Huffed and puffed, got around the pitch. He made a great recovery tackle. But again, kind of at fault for the first goal, got caught on the ball and gave away the free kick. Missed the header as well, which not saying he should be scoring those headers, but that was the first 2 minutes of the game. We have a different tie altogether that goes in. I'll give him a 6.
Fair enough. Odegaard.
5, 4. I'm gonna give him a 4. And not even, I know everyone's going to get onto him about his shooting ability and stuff. For me, it was more alarming where he was taking the ball and getting caught on it. So there was a few times Saka's gone around the side of him and he could have just rolled it to him. There's one we nicked possession in their half and it was 4 against 4, and he's tried to make the killer pass and he ended up getting snuffed out where he just had to give it wide and let Saka cross it. He got caught on the ball a lot. So I get he's not going to be able to find the killer pass every time, and shooting's not his game. But then what you got to be doing is not getting caught on the ball if you're not going to be scoring goals for me. So I give him a 4.
No, fair enough.
Disappointed with him.
Saka.
It's bittersweet. Oh, God. I think he had a 40-50 minute period where he was ineffective. And everyone knows I love this guy. He's, do you know what I mean? Second after Thierry Henry for me since Henry, or actually maybe Alexis. I love Alexis as well. But everything about Saka I love. But just didn't have his best of games, I wouldn't say. He scored, which helps. Even if I take the miss out of it, I just don't think he was doing enough. And we was creating some good situations for him. Do you know what I mean? I think the tactic to put Timber where they put Timber really meant Saka was getting opportunities out there. But again, for me, you saw the difference in their wingers compared to ours. Every time they got in the final third, there was a shot. With ours, it just kept petering out. I'm going to give him a 6. I don't think he was good.
Okay. You know what annoys me about Saka sometimes is when you've got the left back on a yellow. Yeah. He never goes for it. Doesn't take extra risks. Just to push Nuno's buttons a little bit.
Yeah.
Nuno can lose his temper. You know, he's a little bit fiery. And we just don't take it. He never takes advantage of it. I don't know how many times this season, but it's been quite a few this season where the left back's got an early yellow card.
Yeah, and we just
doesn't seem to go for it.
Yeah, we just don't feed him. It's strange. It's strange.
I'm not saying I want to play a sent off. It's not me being horrible.
No, but
it's an advantage you've got.
You know what? Again, this is I think where football has become too systematic, and sometimes the non-league approach is the best approach. And my son, only 17, he's playing men's football, and he's had a really good season. But he's come up against this winger, and we all know this boy called Harry. He's really quick. And he has got the beating of my son in this game. And then the guy called Tristan Campbell come on. He's about 36.
Yeah.
And he's come on the pitch and he said, boys, why are we not just giving it to Harry? And they've literally just like, every time he's got the ball, he's just give it to Harry. And this boy is going up my son. And I come up, I know Tristan really well. I come up to him after and say, wait, that's my son. Don't ever do that again. But it's just that element of, the game's tight. That is our one outlet we've got where we're getting a lot of joy. Keep putting it there and make the other team's manager do something about it or make the team adjust. Because what you're doing now is automatically Nuno should be saying to either Kvaratskhelia or Fabian Ruiz, get over and help me out. That create space for someone else. And it's just, and that's the non-league way, isn't it? You find a weakness. We've had it where a fullback struggling against the winger, the fullback swap sides. So then we say to our winger, go back the other side, go play against him again. Just that's your game, is play against that fullback the whole game. Don't let him out. So, sometimes the non-league way is the right way for me.
You can definitely tell the level that I played. It was definitely non-league. St Albans always, and also Wivenhoe Town as well. It's just for me. And look, when I speak to everybody that I speak to, data analysts and all that stuff, they do agree. But you're right. It's systems. It's just they don't want to break the system that they're already using, but sometimes you kind of need to just take that little bit of advantage. And I know it's horrible to have someone sent off because it does change the whole game, but it just gives us that little bit of edge.
It's not even, sometimes it's not even to get him sent off, it's he has to think twice about doing anything.
Yes, exactly.
He can't stretch for that ball. He might be able to nick it, but he knows if he missed times that he's gone. So he now has to stand up a little bit more or not commit to things. Whereas first half, he can just come and get as tight as he wants to you. So it's just those elements, isn't it? It's not about getting him sent off. It's about actually he has a decision to make now. He's now second guessing, and that split second is all it takes sometimes to get your half a yard or be able to get a crossing. So yeah, we do have to be a bit more ruthless in certain areas.
Yeah, 100%. Martinelli.
Yeah, stinker really. 4.
Okay. If you noticed him, please do let me know about this one. Mikel Merino, because I'll be honest, didn't really notice him.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 6. And it might sound mad. Just a few little things. I think, again, you know me, I like a big physical striker in this Arsenal team. So I think it just gives us out. But when we won a lot of second balls because of him, like their back line wasn't even competing with him in the end. So a lot of things went up to him. He then knocked it down for Martinelli or whoever it was. And then we got playing from that. So I think just his presence gives us more space to play because teams know actually if they go up long to him, it's a battle. And if he flicks it, Martinelli gets in behind, then it's a problem. So I think just him being on the pitch made us look better than when Trossard was up there. Trossard might have a better game than him on the ball and stuff, but I think just his presence alone just gives us something to build off. So, yeah, I don't think he was bad, but yeah, again, he's on the pitch. You want him to try and create a couple of chances or score. He hit a couple of really stinking passes.
They were the ones that I remembered, mate, which the really pissed me off last night, I'll be honest. But I have to be there as a non-biased fan, but there were moments when I went, fuck.
Yeah, and again, the problem
Jesus.
The problem is what do you do with it? Do you know what I mean? And again, this is one of the signings where I remember you know I was calling for Fabian Ruiz over Merino in the summer when I heard we was linked with him. But this goes down to one of the maybe the problems with Arsenal at the moment. When I look at the makeup of this squad, it's very strong, very tall, very robust, but it lacks talent as such in little tight areas where you need someone who can wiggle his way out from there. And there's not much pace in this team either.
No, there isn't.
There's not much pace, and that really hurts us. I think in them transitions, we just can't exploit away from anybody. As only Martinelli's got that killer pace, but the rest of it is not the fastest. You know what I mean?
No,
pace. Rice is powerful, but he's not electric quick. And I think this is why we have such a slow build up, isn't it? It's because actually we can't just knock it in the area and run. We have to almost beat you with talent and skill. So
I think next season our front three are going to be fast, powerful, and tricky.
That's
we're
going to
be dangerous, and that I've always I think it was definitely the front three of Eze, Elise, and Saha were the only three that I can remember in recent times where I've gone, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't want to fancy facing those three.
No.
You know, as the final defender, and you see those three running to you, I'll be like, you know what, I'm just going to step to the side and let you carry on because I'm not even going to try and do this.
You can score, but you're not embarrassing me.
So and for me, I think Arsenal will be like that next season, where the front three are just going to be Jesus. I don't. I'll get out your way, guys. Yeah. I'm just getting out your way, and that's exciting, man. That's the bit that I'm like, we're going to be good next season. Agree with that, Bobby. Saka isn't ruthless enough. I think this is where me and Gobs might disagree, but I don't think it's all his fault. I think he has got restrictions because Mikel does like a specific way of playing. And I think if we was to give Saka a little bit freedom, I think we'd see a slightly better Saka, personally. That's just my opinion. I know.
No, I agree.
Oh, you do? Oh, I wasn't too sure.
As I said, it's you asking him to do so many roles within the squad, and he's getting back. Like I said, Salah sits on the halfway line. You're not defending. Just release me. So I'm working in a smaller area, so I've got the energy and the power to do what I want, and I've got a bit more freedom. Whereas, I do think there is a lot of restriction on our attacking players, and also they get through so much work. No wonder the legs are tired when they get to. Do I really want to go at him again? No, let me just give it inside and we rebuild. Let me catch my breath. So I do think there needs to be.
Chris definitely saying that Immer's next weekend. Thank you very much, mate. Glad we're seeing someone win the Champions League that's not Real Madrid. Yes. Big up to Temi saying, Bobby, evening Gumza. Hope you were doing well, Tem. Right, so we've done Mikel Merino. Let's talk about Calafiori because I'll be honest, he's definitely got a temper which he needs to curve a little bit. I think I will be 10% shocked to see him not in an Arsenal shirt next season. I got a feeling he might go.
Really?
We're open to selling him. I did let you know, guys, in the group WhatsApp that we've had an offer. It wasn't totally turned down. There was a price given, and also other options that could be done. I won't be too shocked if we don't see him in an Arsenal shirt. I think it's one that this isn't again an Arteta signing. He wanted him. I don't quite get why. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but defensively, a little bit suspect if I'm honest.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a temper as well, which is not going to go well in the Premier League sometimes. But what did you make of him when he came on? Because I thought he was all right, to be fair.
Attacking wise, he was all right. It was a breath. It was a bit different, wasn't it? He was getting down the left side, and he put a wicked ball in. It was his cross for Saka's chance, wasn't it? Where he hit it over the bar. But yeah, defensively, he looked all over the place. In all honesty, but I think that was just playing on passion and trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
And again, I think he's hard to judge this year because he's not had a proper run. Is he a left back? Is he a centre back? I don't know. Again, I know he was playing centre back before. So he's one who's quite difficult to judge. And I think what's happened with him is I think everyone forgets his age.
Yes.
He's only 22, I believe. He's very young. So I won't want to make a comment on him just now because he's come into a new league. He's had injuries from the start. He's probably got a lot of room to develop. There is a player in there. But I think we've brought him in and everyone's thinking, I think he looks more mature. He seems like he's been around for a little bit. So you forgetting actually he is still young. And I think in this day and age at the moment, because of how young some players are breaking in, we're looking at 22, like, do you know what I mean? They've had a full career. Whereas actually 15 years ago, 22, you're starting to actually play your first season. Again, if he does go, I wouldn't say I'm missing because I haven't seen enough of him. But it could be we look back in 3 years and think actually we've jumped the gun letting him go. We've definitely kept worse players for longer. So,
that's definite. Temi, I will release this information because I don't want people worrying. The majority of our budget is on attacking players. The majority of our players coming in, I would say 50% plus are attacking players. So just listen to that and enjoy the fault of our attacking players coming in this summer because that's our main focus. Yes, there's going to have to be recruitments elsewhere, but our main budget and our main attention is on the attacking aspect of the game. Friction going to be good between Berta and Arteta, mate. It's already happening, and I like it. I have to be honest, I do enjoy it because. I'm sorry for people that love Mikel, but he does need to be put down a peg or two because he has actually not won anything really. I know FA Cup, you can say whatever, but it wasn't his team. He wanted to get rid of most of those players anyway. And he's not done nothing since. Andrea, first season he went to Atletico. Atletico won the league and they won it again whilst he was there. So he's done something and achieve something. The Calafiori one is not necessarily because it just hasn't worked out. There's also a bid that's come in that covers the costs, and we want to go elsewhere with the way that we want to have our squad. So it would make sense if it does happen. I'm not 100% sure it will happen at the moment, but it wouldn't shock me not to see him at Arsenal next season. Chris Well would have kept the power. I'm not going to get into this conversation anymore because Eddie is at Crystal Palace now, and I'll be honest, I think we're very thankful for that money. There you go. That's what I'm going to say. Has had his final say on transfers. Yes, he's got no more say on it now. He will say the positions. We all know the mentality that he wants and all that kind of stuff, which we will adhere to as much as we humanly can. But at the end of the day, what we're doing is now buying for Arsenal Football Club, not Arteta. So there won't be any more Havertz, Marino, Calafiori. There will not be any of that. So yeah, and also regarding goalkeepers, that's never been Mikel's. That's always Inaki. Inaki is the goalkeeping dude. So yeah, the goalkeeper choice will be down to Inaki, no one else. Right, let's quickly cover the other two subs, which annoys me as well because why we didn't make the other two is beyond me. Trossard came on. I'll be honest, right? I was actually really pleased with Trossard last night. I don't know about you, but I was really that was the proper Trossard. Now, when the thing is, me and Brenny have been on about this all the time. When Trossard performs well, we normally win. And I was like, as soon as he started performing well, I was thinking, we actually might do this here, you know. But look, he had a great game. I don't know about you. Did you think?
Yeah, I think breath of fresh air. And again, this is where he's quality, isn't he, as such? And we was talking in the group yesterday, and I said about the only one who sometimes I could put my money on doing something is actually Trossard. I think he's the most clinical out of the players. He is good. He's just not a starter for Arsenal. It's really strange. When he starts, he doesn't always have his best game. Correct. But when he comes off the bench, he's always kind of electric. And he has got some ability. So, yeah, I was really impressed with his performance. I think he brought an energy which we needed. And I think this is my frustration with Ethan not getting on the pitch because sometimes you just need to freshen it up. Someone who could do something a bit different and have them. I think Hakimi got the beating of starting. Martinelli started pretty well against Hakimi, took him down the line twice, got a couple of crosses in, but then I think Hakimi got the beating of him and we needed to freshen it up. So Martinelli, Trossard, we get a 7 for his performance. I think he was, do you know what I mean? Like actually a shining light coming on.
Actually, yeah, we didn't give Calafiori a rating. Sorry.
I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, that's fair, dudes. Yeah, that's fair enough. Ben came on for the look. Timber wasn't 100% fit, so this did not shock me. I'm happy that Timber lasted to the 83rd minute. However, for long term, I don't think that's the best idea. And Ben White's not fully fit either, so we're not going to give him a rating because I don't think that's fair. But I thought he did all right. And this is where someone has said in the group WhatsApp about everyone's happy. Ben is one of those that's not happy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with him in the summer.
Yeah, well, despite what people think and been told by what was the word that they used? A very reliable source or something. Yeah, Ben White obviously wants to play football. He does. Obviously we all know about him off the field, but his job, he wants to do it and the best of her abilities. And obviously, we all know Timber is Arteta's number 1 choice now. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. That conversation hasn't taken place yet, but there is one due between Ben White and Andrea. Yes, I do say Andrea, not Mikel, to see what will be done. And it'll be interesting to see what is decided because, it is what it is. Let's have a look. I bet Bobby enjoyed Pierre. Of course I did. I hate Verstappen. Anyone scoring him. I don't care if it was Roman Grosjean. It would just be delightful. Odegaard needs competition. I also want Jesus. Jesus, Tommy Ashley is going to be a big problem in this summer window. I can't see us being able to get rid of them. That will be a January situation, I feel. Trossard in my opinion, will be leaving because we're trying to get 2 wingers in. So Trossard's definitely going to be one on the chopping block, and obviously Sterling will be returned. Now, as I said to people this morning, if we feel that we can trust Mikel to play Nwaneri enough on the right, that covers one of the winging positions. Then we go full hog on someone big to go on the left wing, because that's what we're basically trying to do. But that's to be decided at the moment. But currently it is 2 wingers and a forward. Don't rule out a second forward coming in as well, because there are options out there that are doable within the budget. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Arteta slowly becoming the male Jonas Eidval. I will big up to Jonas. When the Jonas first came in, he did wonders, but stayed a bit too long. He did a Wenger, stayed a bit too long. But Jonas did very well when he first came in, but just failed in the end, unfortunately. James Wright putting G. Timber, by the way, nuts right back. He's a very good right back. Still put Hakimi above him though. Just saying. But yeah, he is a very good. When I say Hakimi's better, doesn't mean I'm saying Timber's shit, because I'm not. It's just Hakimi is just outstanding. Like really one of my favourite ones to watch at the moment. But Timber is also very good to watch as well. I love watching him. And I love his attitude as well. He's got a really good attitude. But yeah, love Norris giving Max taste of his own medicine. Love that. Right, next bit. Hovar.
I'm glad you brought it him.
Well, we've got to talk about it because I think last night, and this will probably give you a bit of an insight on whose idea it was, but Nicholas came up with the idea of the throw-ins, and I love it personally. What are we going to give him out of the rating out of 10 though?
So I'm going to give, and can I score? How do I put this? For me, the last few weeks we've conceded a lot of set pieces, and attacking wise, yes, we still look a threat. We do miss Gabriel. You can see it. We obviously scored one last week, which got disallowed for offside. The throw-ins were working. It looked like Partey lost a bit of strength towards the end, though, because they weren't making the box the same. So in that, going forward wise, I think it's still looking like a promising threat for us. But defensively, at the moment, I think we've conceded a lot from set pieces. And again, we conceded a throw-in last week. Well, both goals against Bournemouth for set pieces, weren't they?
Yeah.
Throw-in the corner. Again, a free kick. Just gone. Again, that might not be his fault with Partey heading it in a bad area. However, I think most teams would normally put two on the edge of the box, or if you've only got one, he has to stay central so he can move either way.
Yeah.
I think Martinelli was more towards the front post and then had to react. So I'm going to give him a 5 because I think defensively, that's what's cost us the game, really. And honestly, that first goal was a sucker punch.
Yes.
And we didn't score from one this week, even though we did get close. And again, execution plays a part. You can't blame him for lack of execution.
Yeah.
But we are conceding a lot from set pieces at the moment. We were up to Christmas, we were number one. We wasn't conceding set pieces, but now it seems like most weeks we conceded a goal from a set piece.
Yep, correct. Getting sick, mate. I don't know what it. Look, at the end of the day, we've got all important coaches. There's Carlos, there's Miguel as well, who all have important roles. Naki, I know that the camera went to Anaki when he was talking to David Raya for the penalty, wasn't he? But that's only because Anaki does loads of studies on the penalty takers for PSG, so he knows what to tell to David what to do. So that's literally it. It's madness. Commentators just make a big fuss about everything at the moment. It
is becoming more NFL-like, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. But there's nothing wrong with that. You have the head coach, but then you have important parts for offensive and defensive roles.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's one of the things. Everything seems to be. Again, I don't watch many other teams as much as I watch Arsenal, but it does seem like Arsenal. It does seem like there is this real insight on us. Whereas you look at Pep's got like 5 staff for each player. When they do the end of season presentation, there's about 50 of them on the pitches, and they're getting a picture with Pep. But it's never really spoken about as highly as when Arsenal do it. So it is a bit. I'm not too sure why that is, in all honesty. But it does seem our backroom staff do get a bit more airtime than some of the other teams.
Yeah. Right. Let's wait. So I've just seen the 2 comments come up. Miguel, waiting, please.
I'm gonna give it a. Tactically, I think he was good yesterday. As I said, the tactic for Timber was a breath of fresh air, and it really did work. PSG didn't know how to handle us the first 20, 25 minutes. But I'm going to have to mark him down for the lack of creativity in the last 20 minutes when we're chasing the game. There was just no... And don't get me wrong, we got back in, we scored, we had a Saka missed the open goal, so we was creating, but it's like actually you could have done maybe a little bit more to try and get something out of the game. So because of that, I'm going to mark him as 6.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Big up to the 200 people currently watching. Really do appreciate it. Only Isaac or a comparable signing will replace me. I'm tired of Kim Jong Gronke and his dad. I'll go back to Chris's in a minute. The only common factor with Arsenal's downturn is the appearance of the Kroenkes in 2005. We stopped winning since then. Look, everyone knows how much I hate Stan. I do. I detest the guy. Josh is a very passionate Arsenal fan, just like we are. He wants the best. Trust me, I know how pissed off he is with last night's game. Let's just see what happens this summer. I will. If look at the end of the day, what matters to me is Arsenal Football Club. At the end of next season, we win nothing, and for whatever reason they keep Arteta another. Then that is when I'm going to start attacking KSE. But right now, we're doing everything we possibly can. We're investing everything. Mikel has had a little bit too much control on some transfers, which, in my opinion, has held us back a little bit. Signing people like Havertz, I love him. I love Kai, but the wrong player for what we needed. Marino, I don't get it. Just don't. Sorry. Sterling, don't get it. Sorry. Neto, don't get it. Sorry. Calafiori, don't get it. Sorry. They're all his. Just on the top of my head, I can go in deeper, and there'll be a lot more. But it just doesn't make sense. We've gone with the wrong options, like Gumsa was saying. Fabian Ruiz was an option last summer. We chose Marino. Why? Is beyond me. Mikel was saying, "Oh, we wanted a striker in January. We could have got one. We were offered two, not just Watkins. There was another one offered. He said no, wasn't the right person that we wanted. Anything would have bloody done. I would have taken Giroud for 6 months. I don't care. Just a bloody striker would have 100%. Done.
100%.
It's like anyone for 6 months. Who gives a crap who he is?
That's my frustration. The Ollie Watkins one, I'm not mad at long term. It would have helped us this year. It might not have won a trophy still. And then you could have looked at it like 60 million kind of not wasted, but now you've got a problem because there's no resale value. He's getting older. Does it impact what you're going to do in the summer? So fair enough. But yeah, not getting a loan signing or just grabbing anyone who's a specialized striker, this didn't make no sense. It's low risk. The loan system is kind of low risk, is that you're paying for his wages, but the players we have out injured, if you look at their appearance fees that we're saving on, it probably equals 130,000 a week anyway. Do you know what I mean? So you could then go and get a player with what you're saving on them appearance fees and goal bonuses for Havertz and assist bonus for Havertz and Jesus and whatever else. So yeah, for me, we should have done something once Jesus got injured. We were really short in quality up front, but now we're short on quality and numbers. We should have got something just to help Havertz out. If Havertz stayed fit, we still might have needed someone to take a bit of the burden off. So I wouldn't have minded the Giroud even myself, to be fair.
Well, there was a couple of offered. Arteta said no, so and we did everything we could to get Watkins, but Aston Villa just weren't moving. So you just don't. You're not going to pay something that you know is overpriced.
No, I'm not mad at not paying 60 million for Watkins. For me, that doesn't make sense long term.
Exactly. That's what we didn't want to do, was ruin the plans that we had in summer, because that would have had a knock-on effect. So,
and even if you're a board of director, there probably will be some of the directors thinking, do not fair play to Arteta because he's taken the hit for us to be able to do what we want to do in the summer, if that makes sense. Something like Mourinho wouldn't be having that. He'd be saying spend 60 million on a 20 million player now. That's what I want, go and get it, even if it has a long-term effect on the club. Whereas Arteta has taken some bullets, a bit like what Wenger used to do as well. But the frustration is where we're sitting again now, end of the season trophyless, and there has been opportunity. We wasn't far off winning this semi-final, was we? And I think that's the frustration.
No, we weren't many miles away. So
if we got blown away, then you'll be thinking, well, even if we brought in 3 players, we still would have got battered because they're just a better team than us. But when you go back to the XG, actually, it was just finishing a couple of those half chances would have been the difference.
Chris saying what Anarchy says to Raya: save the penalty, mate, if you can. Cheers. He does go into a little bit more detail than that, in all fairness to David, but I know what you're saying. Look, me and Josh are similar ages. We just get on very easily. It's not like I'm not his fan club but we're just friends and we just talk very easily. That's how it is. And look, he knows what I'm like, because the person that I have the biggest relationship at Arsenal is someone that works very closely with him, and he knows what I'm like. If I'm not happy with something, I will say I don't care who it is, and Josh will understand that. And if I'm pissed off, I will say it. But certainly, everything he's done in the past 18 months, I've been happy with club-wise. Obviously, the signings is a different matter. But him now appointing Andrea, which brings me perfectly onto this bit, signing a yes man, has now changed. Andrea is not going to listen to Mikel. He's going to do what's best for the club. That is important, because that's the only way it works now. Mikel has spent way too much money on players that he felt that he could turn into something different to what they actually are. I'll go into this with Mikel Merino. He thought he can do something different with Mikel Merino for what he actually is. Havertz, I love him to bits. He would be great at Munich. Just doesn't fit our system. I love him to bits though. Hasn't worked out. He's done a good job. He's still a top goal scorer in Premier League, but for us anyway. But he's just not the type of player that we should have got in the first place. That was 65 million quid. We could have easily got anyone. Well, how much was? Hang on, back then, Isaac had already signed for Newcastle then.
I think, did he go January before? I remember we was linked with him. I remember Gunnar King finding his car in London. Do you remember when his car is that number plate was in London? So I think that was. Yeah, I think that was before Havertz. I'm pretty sure it was before Havertz. I think it was in January.
And this is the thing: Mikel at the time didn't want Isaac. Why? Tell me why. But he wanted Havertz. Why?
Yeah. There's some. I think even as a fan base, sometimes when I hear, and this is why I've been quite quiet and relaxed. I have my favourites, people I would like to see at the carpet, but also I don't watch football all around the world that much, and we have a tendency to turn our nose at a player. So even the talk of Gyökeres, people are saying, "Oh, well, he failed at Coventry and he didn't do this when he was there," and it's like. When you look at Vitinha, he failed at Wolves, and look what he's doing now. Do you know what I mean? And Vitinha was at a relegated Leeds, and he's now. There's talk to him looking at Ballon d'Or. I think we are a bit too snobby with some of our players that we link to. And Isaac's another one. I get his record didn't look great at Sociedad at the time. He is young, but we do need to start taking a punt on some of these younger players to come in, almost play second fiddle for a little bit while they learn the league, and then hopefully take over. A bit like a Fabio Vieira. I wasn't mad at the idea of that signing.
Yeah,
it just makes sense. Sometimes you have to take a risk on some of these players before they then become the world-class names, and now you can't get them because teams are trying to charge you 80 to 100 million. And Bruno Guimaraes is a perfect example of that. We should have grabbed him years ago before he ended up at Newcastle. And there's another one who probably would do a good job for us and was linked with him heavily. Didn't happen, and now, do you know what I mean? I know he's going through a lot of things, but especially Guimaraes, now he's linked with some of the bigger clubs, and we're just completely priced out of that. So, yeah, I feel we do need to be a bit more ruthless in the market, and
we do. Yes,
we need some top players, but we also need some up and comings before they become what they're predicted to be.
Yeah, well, I'd say one or two of the signings this summer will be that. So we are taking a bit of a punt on players that will come in, and they're going to be first teamers hopefully. But it's definitely a risk. But I think they're going to pay off personally. I can't say much more, but I'm excited. Yeah. I am excited, mate. I'll be honest. The people that suck up to me is every club, and the FA suck up to me because they know they've got to make sure that they please me, because otherwise I get pissed off, which I like personally. I like the fact that people have to make sure that they please me. But no, look, at the end of the day, I have relationships with all the 92 clubs. I always will have. I do what I can for them, the best I can, including a certain close local club to Gumza as well. I'll be honest, I have a soft spot for Reading. I always have.
Yeah.
they're a club that I've just always loved over the years. Very much like QPR. There's always a club somewhere around that I have a soft spot for. Charlton as well, weirdly. I have a soft spot for them.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I think a lot of it's to do with Championship Manager, you know.
Some of these teams just have an era where they have players and you just come through and you're like, it's just refreshing, isn't it? And then
exactly.
you just always keep
exactly that. Yeah, so I have a lot of soft spots. So that's obviously why I'm good at my job, because I don't let my hatred, even Ipswich, as much as I hate them, and I would happily cut them out of England's map and just put them on a little island. I still work for them, and I work hard for them for the best of their abilities, but I still can't stand them. But it's just the way it is. Ballon d'Or now become interesting, to be honest. Oh, I'll be honest, guys. When it comes to that, I don't trust it. I never have. I don't like it. For me, it's political based. I'm sorry, but I feel it is. If Berta is really to be top director, he is. His first signing has to be Howard Webb and PMGL. Oh Jesus! Look, I'll just quickly cover this. They all suck. Every single referee sucks. There is not one I like. They're all rubbish. They're all stupid. They all make stupid mistakes. I would highly recommend. I might start doing an advert actually for every show I do. If you want to be a ref, please apply, because there are so many awful ones, and the ones that are going to be upcoming are the ones I'm seeing in the Championship, League 1, League 2, and they're all shit as well. So for the next 20 years, I only see shit refs coming. So you all need to apply now. Get your names in the hat, and please get in the system, because it's not going to change anytime soon, and it's got nothing to do with who runs the BMGO. They're just all shit at their job. They're all of them. They're not like the wonderful Aldi checkout supermarket people who are fantastic at their job. I've never seen a checkout person in my life like they are in Aldi. They are more like the people in the back of McDonald's that just can't be arsed, who slap a burger together. Your ketchup and mustard is dangling out the side of the burger. They just can't be arsed. That is the refs in the whole system. And I'm sorry for putting it in the weirdest way possible, but honestly, I'm fed up of talking about how shit refs are. We've had some good ones in Europe. If you look at all the Europe as well, there's some good ones, but there's some shocking ones as well. The one last week, terrible. My God, did he want to be the big star of that one last week? He just wanted to be, look, I'm the ref. We all know, just piss off and just do your job, mate. But yeah, sorry. Can you to see?
I feel your pain.
It's so annoying. I'm liking latest rumors about who linked Carlisle job if views don't stay. It will make me more depressed. Trust me, if it's true. Any male refs from the UK are shit. Mate, I'm spot on with that. I'll be honest, because Rebecca, who is one of the best ones in the women's game, and there are a few others as well, in all fairness, they are fantastic. And they, you know what? They don't take no shit from anybody. Even when the guy's trying to talk to him back chat, because obviously Rebecca does lower league, does League 1 and Championship sometimes. She's brilliant. I'd give it to him. I don't care. But I know, unfortunately, I know what the situation would be like in the Premier League. There'll be some knob, and there will be, because we've all got one. Every single club's got a knob in the stadium on the match day who will say something, and that will be the headline.
And if she makes a decision wrong, then that's where I feel for her, because all the other refs go undetected in their mistakes as such, and they get protected. But I think if a female made a mistake in the men's game, it would then be all over everywhere, and this is why they shouldn't be doing it and the rest of it. So that is the big problem, I think, for them coming into the game. It's not actually their ability to do it. It's the one mistake they do make. Then every female referee is going to be seen in that way, which is
100%, mate. 100%. To be honest, a lot of people are like McDonald's workers in terms of their IQ, especially. Yes. McDonald's workers stand milkshake machine also frozen. Food is frozen. I have the facts. I'm not related to Rebecca Welch. No, I know you're not, don't worry. But no, she is phenomenal. I do like the women's refs, to be fair. They are very, very good. I just wish we'd have, and this is what I find hilarious. So the head of PMTL is obviously Howard Webb. Now, the head of the women's is, guess who? Howard Webb's wife.
Really?
Yeah. So, they could come together and say, can we just do a swapsies? Because I personally would give it a go. But it is what it is. It's never going to change anyway. Right. That's us done. Thank you ever so much, Gumza, for at least making the reaction less annoying than it normally is, because I'm fed up of doing these bad games.
Mate, it's been a hard season, I'll be honest with you. Fair play to you, man.
Yeah, I've got, how many more games have I got left? 3?
3.
Just 3 now. That's me done. Thank goodness for that.
Let's get one win and then we can breathe
again. I don't want just a win against Southampton. I want at least a win against Liverpool or Newcastle.
Do you know what? If I can. I'd rather take the Newcastle. I don't want to lose to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Just because I like that record we've got of, as much as a little thing, it hasn't amounted to trophies, but our record against the so-called Big Six has been really good in recent years.
Yeah.
But I think we need to beat Newcastle just to get that hoodoo off our back.
Yeah. Totally agree. Right, Gumza. I know what your answer is. I always do it because I'm just polite. Where can they find you?
Hiding in the shadow, lurking.
He's doing an Odegaard.
Yeah. Now, you find me in the group chats, but I'm not really on the socials. But yeah, hoping that will change next year. I hope you'll see me more next year. To be honest with you, it's been quite a busy year for us, and yeah, but we get that. I think the problem is because we don't play on Sundays no more. That was my day for reactions.
Yeah.
But obviously, being in Champions League means we play more Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. So yeah, unfortunately, because I'm assistant manager somewhere, can't do many of the Saturday reactions. So yeah, unfortunately, you don't see me as much. But you never know; we may end up 6th. So I might get my selfish dream and get more Sunday matches again.
Look, if you want to be part of the group WhatsApp that Gums was on about, message either G Talks Arsenal, they are at the top of the screen, or Beaconard FAR. For people that are watching on X, I know there's a lot of people. If you want to get involved in the group WhatsApps, now what happens in that? We just talk Arsenal, sometimes football as well, depending on the situation. But it also, once you're in there, you can also, if there's a show that's popped out there, if you want to get on, you literally just message me and I'll send you the Streamline. There's literally nothing. You don't have to questionnaire. You don't have to be an Arteta in, Arteta out, or have a certain theory about something. We'll just get you on. Simple. It's literally an open door policy with me. So yeah, guys, I will be back Friday with this man himself. There we go. That man. No, it's not VAR. I will be honest, it stands for VA representative. So FA representative is what I am. That is my name. So yeah, hates it when I can't find with my tape. Yeah, if you want to tune into Chris's stuff, just literally type in his name. He does loads of dart stuff. He does loads of F1 football content as well. He will be joining me for the preview on Friday and the watch along on Sunday, and the playoff finals when we get there, because everyone knows that's my favorite part of the season. It's the playoff finals. This is the best weekend for me personally. I love them. But yeah, guys, I'm out of here. Speak to you later. Ta-ra!